Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Ethereum. We're going to look at Ethereum on its own and just ignore the fact that it can be influenced by Bitcoin and stocks and Forex and tweets and anything. Right, so let's just focus on the chart. We'll start from the 1 hourly, we're going to work our way up. So immediately on the 1 hourly, we've got a trend signal on the Ichimoku cloud. So that's good. As long as the price doesn't close, and again on an hourly, doesn't close below 2,640, the trend signal is in play, and we should expect the trend signal to continue to trend. The next resistance on any time frame is this horizontal box, which starts at 2,800, ends around 3,100. So we should be looking to trend into the box at some point. I know we front run it, overnight really, but we should still be looking to see more because this trend signal is still in play. Yeah, and if the trend signal cancels out, which means that the TQ span closes, because the TQ span closes within the price action, or this blue moving average crosses this red moving average, then that's the trend signal finished. Then we should, like I say, expect it to continue to trend. So the 1 hourly looks reasonable. Bearish divergence, though, on these last two moves up, you get a third, which is reasonable to assume. Then yeah, I mean that's again expressing weakness on the chart. So you probably would be looking for a pullback on that one. If we are pulling back right now, the most obvious area based on the 1 hourly is 2,676. This doesn't take away from the fact that yesterday's video I was talking about the total 2, which is the entire crypto market excluding Bitcoin, looking like it wants to pull back by 6%. So just remember that they're not like opposing views. I'm just focused on Ethereum right now, showing you what the Ethereum chart wants to do on its own. But that's why I said at the beginning, forget about all the other influences that are out there. Let's just think about Ethereum. But it is something I always have to point out, no matter what altcoin chart you're looking at. Just remember, it doesn't perform in a vacuum. It responds to the other charts running behind it, which again is why trading altcoins can be particularly dangerous. Because you've got to keep your eye on all these other charts before you even make an informed decision about what to do with that particular chart. So you always have to remember that. But again, just forget about that for now. Let's look at this chart. Right, so the 4 hourly, what's going on over here? So the 4 hourly made some nice lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And again, got very close to the box that we were looking at. There's also a trend signal on the Ichimoku cloud on the 4 hourly, which is still in play, provided the TQ span doesn't close below 2,537. And a little lower today, so around 2,500 we've got to remain above. Well, indefinitely really for the trend signal to continue. If we were to pull back a little lower on this one, the 4 hourly can sustain a good pullback and a bounce around 2,633. So we've got the 1 hourly and the 4 hourly both with Ichimoku cloud trend signals, which I like. Trends look like this: they go up and they go down, and they go up and they go down, and they go up. Maybe we go down over the rest of this week before we go back up. I'm still predicting a good June, really, and maybe even after that. So if we do go down, it doesn't mean that we're bearish. It means that we're looking to form a higher low. So it looks quite good. I have to say, it does look quite good. The 1 hourly and the 4 hourly get the royal seal of approval. Right, so the daily. So this is where things get a little bit different. We don't have any trend signals on this one. We do have a pump signal that's generated at this level, 2,600, and we've moved into the next major area of resistance, which again, when you look at it from this far out, does look like the box has been tested already, and we're seeing a rejection from that. We're above all moving averages at this moment in time. The Bollinger Bands have pinched quite tightly after this big rally that we had. So it looks like another move is getting ready for a pump really. 2,584 being the Bollinger Band support, and then below that 2,480 being the 21 exponential, serving more or less the same purpose. If we can get above and close above the this yellow moving average, 200 simple moving average, we'd be above everything. We don't have any golden crosses, nothing like that. We won't be getting anything like that anytime soon. When the 50 exponential is here, the 200 is here, the 50 simple is here, and the 50 and the 200 simple is here. So quite a long way off before we got any kind of trend signal on this one. But take it on face value. 65% more likely to remain above the center of the Bollinger Band, which is 2,578, 79. And if we were to close and continue to close above the 200 simple moving average, then it means we're above all moving averages. They're yet to readjust and create like a nice divergence from each other, but you've got to start somewhere, and this is where we start. Remember, we've still got the 1 hourly and the 4 hourly in our favour. The daily is having its own personal battle, but it's still in the bull zone, really, yeah, provided we're above this 20 moving average. Good, okay, fine. So daily is optimistic, definitely. Weekly. So the weekly is closed now. Well, again, it's only Thursday, but we're looking to close a fourth candle in a row above the 20 weekly, giving it that opportunity to continue to curve and then start to move up. At the moment, it's downtrending, which means that if we were to come down to retest it, you could see a lower area get tagged, because obviously it's been moving down. So this, as a support in itself, has been moving down, but the 21 exponential is moving up. And actually, if you zoom in quite close to this, you can see that on the weekly, it's the 21 which seems to be the support. 1, 2. So we are getting higher lows based on the weekly 21 exponential. If we were to go through that rhythm again, the support on the weekly, if it were to happen, would be 2,388. So, okay, I mean, it is also bullish as well, because same as the daily, there's a lot of areas to make up, but as far as flipping into like a bullish zone, you're above the 20 weekly and the 21 exponential. If you're new to watching me, I have the 20 moving average because it's a standard moving average, one of the most important when you're looking at statistical likelihood of bull or bear. We're above that, but the 21 exponential serves the same purpose as that. I use both together, depending on how volatile a chart is, depends on whether it prefers a 21 or a 20. And in this case, because it's volatile, it seems to have preferred the 21, which is good, which gives you that support around those areas. So that looks good. And again, no divergence on this, just trending up nicely with momentum and money flow. So Ethereum does look like it wants to keep trying. Always remember, we've got the trend signal on the 1 hourly and the 4 hourly. So the monthly is where things start to change around a bit, unfortunately. So we do have one giant drive of hidden bullish divergence marking off this low here, but we have approached and appear to be getting rejected from the 20 monthly moving average. So if you were like a long-term bear, for instance, this would be the area that you would go for. You'd be like, all right, I'll put a 1 or 2 or 3x short on this one and see if I can hold this for, as long as it takes for it to make a lower low. But the monthly is different. And it doesn't mean that the monthly is better than any of the other time frames. It just means that now we've come across a time frame which is telling us a different story. So supports break, resistances break. Is this the one that breaks? I don't know. It's only an edge. It's only odds, and the odds are more likely on the monthly to get rejected from here. Remember, the 4 hourly, the daily, 1 hourly tell a different story. This is the first time we've seen a time frame that shows sort of a bearish likelihood of a bearish move, really. And because it's a monthly, it's a bit worrying, because the higher the time frame, the bigger and the longer lasting the move. So we are hoping that it breaks out from here. But if it doesn't, okay. If it doesn't, you do run the risk of, over a long period, maybe even we're in a bear market, we don't realize it, get rejected and continue on. The best thing we could do would be to look at how it's performed in the past. Have we ever closed in previous bull markets below 20 monthly? And the answer, unfortunately, is not in a bull market. You're above it here, and then you flip down below it. Okay, you come up to retest it, continue below it. Bull market begins. Big move up, continuous move up. Then what do we have? Nothing more than continuation until it pops, and then you lose it. Rejected from it. In this case, we managed to move all the way up to the top. We came to the bottom and we closed above, continuation, double top. So unfortunately, when you're looking at backtesting Ethereum, unfortunately, this has never happened before. It's the only other time that we've revisited a 20 monthly moving average is in a bear market to get rejected in the form of a lower high. or when we break out of it, it's at the beginning of a bull market when the bull market begins. That's basically the situation, to be honest with you. So there's your 2022 bear market, the bull market begins, you finally reclaim it, a nice rally up. Same over here, 2018 bubble pop, break, lower high, and finally reclaim it all the way up. So I think the thing to take home is that unfortunately, the monthly does look like the sort of rhythm that you would get in a bear market. Ethereum has been sort of particularly weak. Again, it's moved proof of stake. Maybe that's had some influence. There's lots of reasons to think about this in a bearish way, or a change of fundamentals. And altcoins generally have not been very good as a whole, as a group. It's only a select few which have, done a serious move and maintained serious price, and Ethereum isn't one of them. But Ethereum does have ETFs and stuff, and the average price of the Ethereum ETF is around about 2,200, 2,400, certainly lower than where we are right now. So, and the cycle, as far as I'm concerned, has still got more to run between now and September. So it would seem reasonable that this is a one-off, and that we are going to break this. But until we see it break, maybe the monthly is telling us that this is a serious peak in the market, and maybe even the last sort of run that we get before we create a lower low. That's all it's saying. It is just Ethereum. I'm just pointing it out that that's what it says. So it's not all roses and happiness. It could actually end up as a serious move down from here to a new low, serious low. That's what the monthly says. We'll take it to a 3-month then, shall we, to see if there's anything going on in 3-month. Okay, slightly better on the 3-month, isn't it? So you can see the movement up, mostly on the 10 exponential. You see this big move down, mostly on the 20 moving average. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row, big move up. But in this case, we did close below it, but now it looks like we wanted to close above it. The 3-month, when will we close? January, February, March, April, May, June. We'll be closing at the end of next month. So we've still got a bit of time to wait before this candle closes. We don't know how it's going to behave or what it's going to look like. But at the moment, give it the benefit of the doubt. It's above all moving averages, so perhaps the 3-month gives us the move. When it comes to the money flow, the volume is losing. We're losing volume on this one consistently. So there's never a good look when you want to see this turn around. This is not oversold. Not that I would ever look at the money flow index and say, oh, it's oversold. We were massively higher over here. We still made a decent run, but you can interpret this in two ways. But at the moment, the candle looks good, but the volume does not. If the volume was to be turning up on this one, you'd be looking for a serious run, way beyond its previous all-time high. But we haven't. We don't. But it's not as bad as the monthly. The monthly is that resistant, whereas that is not. 6-month is an interesting one. There's your 20 moving average all the way down here, 1,260. We're above that. In fact, we're above all moving averages over here. But the money flow, again, volume and the momentum all moving down. So it doesn't really look amazing for the 6-month. And we will now finish with the 12-month. And we'll see how that appears. Well, it's an up-only chart, I can tell you that, and this kind of looks a little bit like a bull flag formation. Such a long time frame, you're not going to get any momentum and volume read, but you could be looking at this as such. And with that is a bullish formation. Now, because this is yearly, what you might be thinking about is what the next cycle will be. Because this is 2025, this is 2026, this is 2027, this is 2028, this is 2029, this is 2030. So we could fit another whole cycle in here before you see it break out and go through a massive move. Similar to the sort of thing we saw with XRP with its sort of 5-year accumulation. It got to the end and then finally broke out. So whether we have the power to actually break out of this formation, this cycle is different. I don't know as we do. If we do, it would be brilliant, and you'd be seeing, 6, 8, 10, 12,000 perhaps on this move. It'd be really good. Otherwise, you'd be looking for the rest of the cycle, which means that we got supports. You wouldn't be looking for Ethereum to go down below 1,600, for instance. You'd be looking for it to hold that. If this were to be a bullish breakout, again, symmetrical triangles, if you want to call it that, have a 50-50, and it's 50-50. It's a breakout trade, but so far it's never broken below. It's also never broken above. So you'd be looking for the breakout trade one way or another. Again, if it were to break out of here, looking above 3,000, probably would extend that to 6, 8, 10, 12. See how far you go. So otherwise, you'd be looking at this for another few years and getting ready for the next big Ethereum trade, which should take you straight up there quickly. 1 year's worth of price action, dwarfs the previous 5 to 8 years of price action. So in a nutshell, that's Ethereum. Across a variety of timeframes. Bullish on the immediate short term, and sort of hesitant around the monthly. But overall, to be honest with you, I think it looks quite good. And it might account for one of the reasons the total market cap, or should we call it the total 2, it's starting to show signs of life, especially moving into the next month and perhaps the month after that. So we should be looking for a decent summer. But remember what I said at the beginning of the video. There are other things that run parallel to this chart: Bitcoin, stocks, and Forex. And we looked at those on the stream last night. There's no point in looking at them now, but just focus on Ethereum. Looks okay. But remember, it's not the only chart out there. It's not invincible, and it will respond to other markets, whether they move up or down. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.